Should be going live anytime. And we are live now. Let the counter come up. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy, son. All right. Trying to let him come in the building. All right, y'all. Peace. Abarigani, Islam, Salam, Hetepu, Rahubat, Jinolago Ninani, Chief Noble Bandele Elamine, back again in the building. And today we got my brother JB, aka TikTok the Black History 365, all the way live tonight. Um, so what's going on, brother?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Shit. What's
You know
up?
what it is. So today we're gonna get into the conscious movement, man. Being woke, man. Me and my dude, we got a lined up convo for everybody. It's probably gonna be controversial, but we definitely gonna be getting into that tonight. You see what I'm saying? I'm a
Yeah.
I see King in there. I'm gonna put it on the board. I'm gonna put it on the board, bro. Okay. But let me put it on the screen, man. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you. I sent you a link though. Let me see. Which did I put this up here? I thought I put it up here. Hold on, let me do this again. Y'all, I'm right here though. But before look, I'm about to add the banner and then I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up there for y'all. So if y'all want to come and join, the convo, because it's gonna be a banger, man. So I'm just letting y'all know. But before we get into any of that, man, y'all check out all my books on Amazon.com right here. You got the Moors Treaty book, History on the Moors. You got Birthright, Nationality, the treaties. You got how the birth certificate explained. So, and kind of we're gonna talk about some of that tonight. I'm pretty sure. But I got a journal, blank journal for y'all who like to write down stuff. This is a blank journal for doing the style, the religious marriage, the whole nine. So go check me out, man. That's all I got to say. Go check me out. We done with that. So let's get into this, man. Let's get into the topic of discussion. Uh, like we said, tonight we're gonna be talking about being woke. Like, what is being woke? And being woke in this day and age, is it really what it is supposed to be? So we're gonna look at the pros and the cons of the conscious community. All right. So, like I said, hope y'all be in the comments. Bust it up, bust it up. So, what it is that, as y'all can tell, I'm into the African centered. My background is I'm African centered. Um, I come out of that and I get into nationality and I get into more science. And so for me, it was like a combination of African spirituality and more science. And, I started doing this in the 90s. So we didn't call it woke back then, right? It was conscious, or we was in the African community, if you will. Okay. So like what we were doing back in the day is a lot different than what I see today. There's a lot more information out there that we didn't have, or that wasn't readily available to us, right? So my thing is, we want to talk about what the consciousness being woke today is about, man. And like, so my background is that. So why don't you tell them a little bit of about where you coming from on this, man?
Um. Well, to go off what you were saying, shoot. I guess you say. I mean, I was kind of raised Christian, kind of raised Muslim. When I got a little bit older, around the time I was, still a teenager, maybe 18, late teens. I guess I caught myself waking up. I was involved, watching a lot of videos on YouTube about the Illuminati, just stuff like. New Age spirituality, it's a lot of different stuff, a lot of different ideas, that's considered woke. I was really into, and I can't say that I'm not totally into them now, but just, as of recently, I find myself, just disconnecting from certain ideas that was out there that I really used to believe a lot. And yeah, that's it. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now. I still consider myself woke, but a lot of the things that I thought was woke maybe a few years ago, I kind of just disconnected from. So yeah.
Okay, I mean, I got you. So I know, and I know you, brother, and I know you familiar with a lot of this stuff. So like I said, we we go back and forth because you you can be the devil's advocate, right? So I know, like, we talk about a variety of different things that, from an African centered perspective or from a woke perspective, I don't. You kind of coming from a different angle with it. So, like, one of the things that we talked about was, you know, one thing is conspiracies, right? A lot of times when we begin to get woke or conscious, we get into the conspiracy side of things, and things are being revealed to us that we never knew about. So, like, one of the things we talked about, we've been talking about lately, is the Federal Reserve.
Hmm.
So, from a woke side, or from conscious side, we talk about the Federal Reserve being some, a lot of times it's looked at as some evil entity that has basically taken over the financial system of the world, not just the United States, but the Federal Reserve, has these sweeping powers, and they control everything, and they conspired to get into power. We know the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. The whole story about the bankers being on Jekyll Island. Uh, you know, all that.
Hmm.
So from where I come from, I see the Federal Reserve as being something that is corrupt and that has control over the people. So from that, what is your opinion on that?
Um, well, I think how me and you eventually got into this conversation. I mean, we've been discussing, finance and business and stuff like that. So, I mean, a lot of folks have come to realized that the Federal Reserve definitely plays an important part in the financial system. Um, and I think when I first heard about the Federal Reserve for real, it was from a cartoon that I saw on YouTube, and I ran across this video again recently, and I watched it myself, and I shared it with you, and I was just kind of tripping on how I was watching this video. I'm like, okay, now some of this stuff is just kind of over exaggerated. It's kind of it's really got a spin on the video. It's not like, if you a scholar, if you didn't have academic training, you know that it's best to learn from somebody with a detached perspective. They're not trying to teach you like, oh, this is bad or this is bad or this is good and this is good. But as I'm watching this video, I'm just like, wow, like some of this stuff about the Federal Reserve is not true because like they was really trying to make it seem like, oh, well, it was just some type of institution that was created to control the world, and it's just these ether bankers and they enslaving the people and they it's taking all the money from the people and all of our money is being controlled by these mysterious hidden figures. Is a group of people who is oppressing the people. Okay, and give or take if that's true or not. I was just looking at this video. I'm like, okay, well, some of this stuff, even in the video, is just plain not true, or it's some important things that was in the video that wasn't in the video. It's some important facts about the Federal Reserve that they just totally left out of the video. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add on that or because I did send you the video as well. Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm here, bro. I was talking. Brother King was trying to come on, right? So I was trying to get him on. So I was letting you talk.
Okay. Yeah. So that's just it, and I see this stuff. It's not only necessarily with that video, but it's with a lot of things in general. Even on the internet, we got all this information, and it come across as woke, it's enlightening, it's refreshing, some stuff we never even heard of. But we gotta be use the same scrutiny that we use with other things and apply that same scrutiny to anything we learn for real. Like even when I first saw that video it was maybe like 10 years ago, and that amount of information, it probably wasn't there on the internet at that time. You know what I'm saying? To really do like the cross reference and, have that amount of scrutiny. But I mean nowadays, compared to 10 years ago, it's a lot more information available that folks can use to really just cross reference um, any information that we get. This is like, I mean, you even seen the video, so I don't know. What was your perspective on the video? What up? What up?
My fault. My fault. Okay, y'all hear me? Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my fault. Yeah, yeah. I was just saying we got King L Bay in the building. He finally got on. But to answer your question, you were saying that say that question again.
No, I'm saying I also shared the video with you. I mean, what did you think about it?
Okay, my thoughts on the video about the Federal Reserve was that it had a lot of points it made. I mean, first of all, it told you about how the banking system works in regards to uh, fractional reserve banking. So it talks about how they take money and they'll give you $100, but they'll take that and put it out there. They also showed you how the banking system was created. How
Hmm.
money used to actually be, what money used to be,
Hmm.
and and then they talked about how it turned into Federal Reserve notes. And so I think for people who are coming into the game, it was very informative for them. Um, you know, I know King probably ain't seen that video. I didn't send that to him, um, but before you jump in here, King, I want to ask KB, what did you see wrong with that video?
It was a number of things that was wrong with it. I mean, like I even said, you know, you done went to, your school and you study history, religion, and you know the importance of receiving a non-biased perspective when you learning something new. So that video, in my opinion, it was completely biased. It was going off the idea that, like this is just an evil system. Now, give or take if it's evil or not. Um, it was just so many things wrong with it. And then it left out some vital information. Like me, he was even talking about like, okay, it put the idea out there that the Federal Reserve Bank is a private bank, right? Automatically in our mind we think private bank. okay, it's owned by private individuals and it's like a corporation, a for-profit corporation, and all our money is going to enriching, you know, whoever owned the bank. So, but when we did a fact check, we saw some stuff that wasn't present in the video at all, such as, okay, Federal Reserve is ran by a board of governors, right? And who elect those governors is the president and Congress. They appoint the people who run the Federal Reserve. So it's not like it's just some private individuals who run in the Federal Reserve. Like, no, the United States government decides who is in the Federal Reserve, right? There's another thing. The
Mm-hmm.
Federal Reserve is a nonprofit. It's not a for-profit corporation. It's a nonprofit organization, and the profits from the Federal Reserve go to the U.S. Treasury. That was two things I would have really that had to been put in the video, but because it was given a biased perspective of it, I could see it really not adding that into it because it didn't really support where they was trying to go with the video.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, all right, brother. I know, hey, brother King. I know you didn't see the video per se, but I know you got an understanding of the Federal Reserve. So, what did you think about uh, what Brother Jamil just said, man?
Well, I think it's a miseducation. I think we don't understand the system, the money system in totality. So one of the things we got to understand is a little bit of we got to know a lot of the history, and then we have to compare the notes to what's to true and actual events, and the purpose of the U.S. The Federal Reserve as it relates to the U.S. Treasury. So I was just watching some videos as it come up on the development of how the U.S. The Federal Reserve was. So a guy was giving some history about it. So at one point we held the world's gold. We held a lot of the world gold, and so everybody can trade our dollars in to get their gold when they need it. But when Nixon came in, he closed out the that gold exchange, and the money became fiat. And several countries came to back; they wanted their gold back, and the United States could not give them the gold. So what did they do in the 1970s? Saudi Arabia, I think in the late 60s and 70s, Saudi Arabia came in, they struck oil. They had a large oil reserve. So they went to them to say, hey, if anybody wants to buy oil from you, they have to purchase it in US dollars. That was the stronghold we had with Saudi Arabia. So the purpose of the gold, that's why they call the oil black gold. So now there's a changing of the guard. Our dollar is being inflated, and inflation normally kills the country if you have a hyperinflation. But what we have to understand is we have a miseducation of a system that was never engineered to um, allow us to properly understand the system so we can put things together so that we can thrive. The Federal Reserve is a nonprofit institution. So most of us don't understand when we get in bed with the IRS, you get in bed with the US Treasury because they are the ones who they created the IRS. They put the IRS together, Lincoln. All of that came into play.
Well, hold on. The IRS did not come into existence until 1913.
1913, right. What
The IRS was formed by Abraham Lincoln, so that was like in 1862
something
or
right.
two or something. So the IRS existed way before the Federal Reserve, which I will say that goes to the point I think Brother Jamil be making, because they try to make us believe that the Federal Reserve created the IRS and as a mechanical arm to
No.
do its work, but it already existed before the IRS. I mean, before the Federal Reserve. So, but go ahead. So go ahead.
So Lincoln helped put that into motion, and then it was later formed in 1913, as me and you both had talked about that recently about the IRS. So we have to understand the system so that we can understand how to play the game. So a lot of us don't understand the institution itself. So by the miseducation, intentional miseducation, allow us to play a game that you never knew the rules to, so you never knew how to effectively um, thrive in that system of play. You were constantly battling against your own wits because of that miseducation. And this is the problem. The worst thing you can ever do to a man is miseducate. It'd be hard for him to really find himself or any truth out of anything that was basically told in lies. He would have to go and restructure, revitalize his whole thinking. He would have to whitewash his mind and come into a new train of thought to be able to come out of what the darkness. That's what like Bible speak of coming out of the darkness and coming to the light. And that's the
Right.
truth. The darkness is the
Hold on.
lie, and the truth is the light. And most of us don't know the truth, and we don't know how to get down in the 21st century dealing with this system itself. Most of us very know very little things. It's a lot of Moors that just don't know the system. They don't understand minimum contact. They don't understand how this works in totality. So they'll go proclaim their nationality and then go back into the system, back and plug themselves back into the matrix after they came out, only to be a taxpayer once again. They sign themselves up, and that's what identify you as a taxpayer. And then they use the propaganda of black and white to only create more confusion to get you focused on things that's really not important, when really you don't even understand the tax laws that you're under. The most
All right.
the most important thing that I want to say before you cut in, Benelay, are you or are you not a taxpayer? That's a very important status to make a determination.
Right. Okay. So my thing. This is where we at. We looking at being woke. So being woke, there's certain knowledge that we have. I think what Jamil is coming from is saying like so for example, we talk about the Federal Reserve and one of the issues of the Federal Reserve that he had with the video was um, certain things that they didn't put in there. Okay, one of the things he said was that the Federal Reserve is that the president and Congress, they are the ones that pick who's going to be the governors in the Federal Reserve, right? So my question to you, Kay, is what do you think about that fact that the Federal Reserve is really not controlled? It's not necessarily a conspiracy, that the Federal Reserve is doing the job that it's supposed to do, and that it has the best benefit for the United States. What do you think about that?
I think one of the things is that they this is what I'm gonna say. to us. One of the problems is that we don't read. The Federal Reserve is what it is.
I'm saying, but what is that, bro? I'm saying, like, don't jump around it now. Don't give me that political answer.
And
I'm saying, what is the Federal Reserve? Who controls the Federal Reserve, bro? Like who controls the Federal Reserve?
private, private, private bankers. It's the Federal Reserve is a unique institution based upon the UPN, um the Universal Postal Union. It's other nations involved with the Federal Reserve System. So this is where the laws of nations come in. So
Is it good or bad? Is it good or bad?
is it good or bad?
Yeah, and don't give me that political. It's what you really think, bro. Is it good or bad? Come on now. How do you view the Federal Reserve? You look at it like, is it doing what it's supposed to do for the American people, or is it really hijacking and taking away the money, or what? What is
It,
it doing?
it took away your ability to own anything. So it don't help the American people at no kind, no form, no form, no shape or form. It took away your way to own property in the United States. This is why I did a video. Don't admire those who you think got a lot of money because they don't own nothing. They
Okay,
don't. They
okay.
don't own nothing.
So, all right, all right. So, okay, so JB,
Hmm.
what? Okay, so what do you think about that?
I mean, okay, now with me, I would say more importantly than if it's good or if it's bad, we need to understand how it works and how we can benefit from it as a community, or even if you want to change it, how can we create some type of change if we don't like what we see. But I think even more important than that is how can we take what we can learn about the Federal Reserve as it is and maybe benefit us personally, our families, our community, whatever have you. Um, I'm not really too honestly, I'm not really too concerned about if it's good or it's bad. I will say that probably is bad. More than likely it is bad for real, because it's not built to benefit everybody equally. You know what I'm saying? I will definitely say, it benefits certain classes of people in the United States more than it probably benefit you and me. So my thing is like, how can we, take whatever we can learn about the Federal Reserve and, you know, I mean, how can we, be more at least somewhat practical about it? You feel me?
Okay, so I mean, your thing is, I feel like you feel like it's no conspiracy, that there's this bank conspiracy
Hmm.
to for global domination is like the boogeyman. So I mean, I feel like you don't think that the Federal Reserve really is out here trying to take America out. Which, see, I believe the Federal Reserve does is playing a part in the control of America, and that they own America through the commerce, and that's the problem, and then that's not a good thing. And so for us to use the Federal Reserve to try to use it to our advantage is it's shortcoming, in my opinion. In my opinion.
Uh, I mean, it's a lot. I don't know. And then it's funny though, because I where I'm at now, or at least what I'm trying to learn about it is not even necessarily. I'm not trying to judge if it's good or it's bad. You know what I'm saying? I think more importantly is to learn first how it works. First of all, have a thorough understanding of how it works, even before we can judge it. Because I didn't, like I said, when I first saw that video about 19 years ago, I was convinced, okay, well, this institution is just evil, and they trying to enslave the American people. They taking all our money, you know. But now as I'm in a different avenue now, I'm encouraging people and trying to learn about how finance work myself. it's like, okay, I'm learning different facts about the Federal Reserve that I didn't know before. That's even kind of changing my view about it somewhat. Just even just learning some basic facts about it kind of, pushes against what that video was saying. Like, I don't know. It made me
Like,
really
like what? Like, what was the? I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is it that you like think
uh
is that was wrong with it?
I
I mean,
mean, just even,
mhm.
and I think you were saying that. I mean, it did present some basic good information that was true. You know what I'm saying? So I can't totally take away from the video. A fair amount of that information was true, but like even for instance, like I was saying, like that the Federal Reserve is a nonprofit. That video, the way that video was spent, it make you think, well, like, okay, the Federal Reserve Bank is just some evil rich man who's basically controlling the world. And then when you go and look up some facts about it, okay, like, okay, it's kind of not like that. Like they was just kind of taking it way left instead of kind of being somewhat centered about it. You feel me? I mean, you have to do that when you teaching people information. Like teaching both sides of what's you feel me? I mean, I think that.
Okay. I mean, okay. But see, one of the things I got a problem is that you when we talked about the Federal Reserve is appointed by the president and Congress.
Mhm.
So for you it's like, oh, they don't. The Federal Reserve doesn't control anything. What is that? What you? I mean, you feel that way?
I mean, to a certain degree, like, okay, even each member of the board is only there for a certain amount of time. Like before I even looked into it, I'm thinking that the dudes who was on the Federal Reserve like 10, 15 years ago still there. Like they just got a permanent job. And it's not like that. I mean, it's just some things like, okay, I don't know. It's just the whole story wasn't there. You feel me? And I don't know. It's just even a thing with a lot of content, that's out here on the internet. It can be somewhat misleading. Like, we might be seeing a video like that video on the Federal Reserve and think that we coming into some exclusive secret information that's enlightening, but it's not telling the full truth. You know what I'm saying? That also ain't the full truth. We go looking for the truth. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we all truth seekers, but we go there, we get a little bit of truth, but then we get a little bit of mustard on there. You feel me? They add a little bit of ketchup, when all we wanted was the plain burger.
Okay, okay. Well, so all right, Kane. I know you've been watching. What you think, man? Like, I mean, like, what do you think the Federal Reserve really is?
Um, it started off with good intentions. You gotta understand this. My mother told me the road to hell was paved with good intentions, and I think they found a way to manipulate the system. Um, it was there, like I said before, to hold the world's goal. It was to control the world global economy. Um, and that's what I'm saying. We got to understand some history, and then we got to understand how it functions. What what do it do? Once you understand that once the money became fiat currency, that means it wasn't backed by nothing. Then the people who now in possession of that, as it relates to all of the stuff, you got to understand this is all dealing with contract law. You go out here and you bust your butt and you're giving this fiat currency that has no value, no economic value. Now, you can't put value within value of something that doesn't have value. You can't buy something with a debt. So all of the stuff that you're working for is frivolous. You don't own your house. That's why they can claim eminent domain. You don't own your car. That's why they can take it, repossess it. Um, you don't even own your children as it relates to the state because you technically can't afford to care for them because you're in what they call a corporate war status. the state and the government provides all your benefits. Because you don't understand the system and you don't understand how it functions and you didn't read the Constitution really and try to break it down and tell you you cannot pay really a debt with nothing but gold and silver. But we constantly went against the grain. We never asked any questions. A light bulb never went off on nothing. And they print the Federal Reserve manual and nobody ever picked it up to read. So it for the lack of knowledge, people shall perish for the lack of knowledge. It's time that we're now in this time of awakening. It's time for us to start using our our gift, and that's our way to think. God gave us the best thing in the world, and I always say that life is a thinking man's sport. If you going to win at this life, we have to start thinking. We have to start reading. We can't just look at things on face value and believe it's good or bad. We have to make a determination if it's beneficial for us or not, based upon the material that we can get on the information to study what its function is. So it's not so much if it's a necessarily or a good or bad thing. It's the miseducation that was weaponized against us, and which allow us not to be able to thrive in the system. It's a way to do everything, and the best way to overcome a people is miseducate them where they don't have the ability to thrive and own nothing. So the Federal Reserve was the role was paid with good intentions, but it went far left because there were people that, just like in anything, when they get absolute power, there's absolute corruption. You give somebody too much power, they will be corrupted. You have to always have checks and balances to keep things in place, to keep things um, where one hand have to watch the other, and you have to create balance.
All right. All right. Now check this here. I'm gonna say this. Disagree with the fact that it started out with good intentions. Okay, but before I get into that, I want to say that both of y'all is saying the same thing from two different sides. Because he's saying, I feel like I feel like JB is saying that because of lack of knowledge, we believe anything that somebody put up on the screen. So all these people who think they woke because they ain't never know nothing about the Federal Reserve, and then they watch some cartoon video on the Federal Reserve, and they want to be like they know something. And then on the flip side, I can see King. You said because of lack of knowledge, we believe there is nothing going on because we don't know the Federal Reserve is bad or doing anything that's taking away our sovereignty. So it's like both of y'all saying because of lack of knowledge, something's happening, right? That's what I'm hearing. But my thing I disagree with that the Federal Reserve, it had the intention from the beginning to do what it's doing now because they planned it out. They planned out how to control the wealth. And that's what the woke people think. That's what the conspiracy is. The conspiracy is that, oh, the Federal Reserve is bad, or the Federal Reserve is taking away our sovereignty. We don't own anything. That's the conspiracy. That's what the woke people say. That's what us conscious people think, right? We don't look at the Federal Reserve as some like moral institution that was designed to help the money problems of America. We don't think the Federal Reserve was built for that. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. Like I disagree with a lot of that. And I think the woke people who are like woke, they ain't going for that. They're not going for that at all.
But you make it clear, because I'm still kind of confused of really what you're saying. Going for what? What is they not going
Okay,
for?
I'm saying that they're not going for that. One, it wasn't bad intentions. They know off the rip. Hey, Federal Reserve was up to some BS from the rip, from their conception. That's one. The number two, they're not going for what KB said. As far as it's an institution that we can use and that it's not necessarily good or bad, but it's you know, a lot of misconceptions about it because it's not controlled. You know, it's a private institution, but it's not controlled by private people. You know, the government control the Federal Reserve. He like KB think the government control the Federal Reserve, and they don't. They don't. They, you know what I'm saying? They don't. But he believed because they put a board up and that the Congress gets to vote on who goes in to the Federal Reserve. That it look to me, it looks good. It looks good. That's how they post. That's what they want it to look like. They want it to look like it's legit. But they are. I'm like, but we know that they are giving them the names of who they want on the board. They got a list of names that they pick from. Congress don't Congress don't pick people out of random. Like he think that Congress go out and find who they want for the Federal Reserve. No, the Federal Reserve gives them a list to pick from. So it looks like they picking it. And so that's where I'm at with it. All right, so I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna let Jay. I'm gonna let KB come back on.
I mean, brother, I don't know. It's just funny. I be on live on TikTok or whatever, man, and I be getting a lot of heat. I be saying certain things, and people always challenge you, even if you're saying something that's common sense nowadays. People want facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you prove that? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Honestly, to a certain extent, like I'm stopping to even care. It's more like, what can we do for us and ours? You feel me? Like, and I definitely think, it definitely is ways that you can benefit from learning about the Federal Reserve because it is an important thing. Even if you want to go get a loan or a credit card, that impacts the Federal Reserve is impacting uh even that. You feel me? So it can benefit. It's definitely benefiting people. It's definitely benefit black or white. It don't matter because it is brothers out here who that I even see, got their credit right. They know how to go to the bank and get a loan, do business loans and all that. So we can't sit up here and say it ain't benefiting nobody because there's some brothers out who's doing quite well, managing they finance. You go to them, they might complain, oh, the Federal Reserve, it is the interest rate high right now or whatever. But they ain't gonna be tripping on, oh, if they some evil bankers is trying to do everything because they eating. You know what I'm saying? If we was eating right now, if we knew how the Federal Reserve worked and we was hit to the finance, shit, we wouldn't have no complaints for real. This is open to everybody. It may not benefit everybody equally, but I do think there's a way for us to, rather if it's good or bad, make the best of it, if you will.
All right, King. So what you got to say to what I'm saying? Cause I'm coming for y'all.
Okay, this is where I'm looking at in the way you was trying to put it off, right? From the inception, from the beginning, right? We already know about the Jekyll Island. We already know about some of these things that come into fruition. But was it good or was it bad? Or really was it some people trying to outthink other people in this global economy. Um,
Control. Because they wanted control. They
but
want control.
but I think don't everybody want to have some control over aspect of their life? I don't know nobody who don't want to have control over their environment. Name me one person who don't want control.
So you saying that the Federal Reserve, all they wanted was just a little control like everybody else.
No, they wanted. What I'm saying to you is they wanted to make sure they can preserve what they built, and the only way you can do that is you got both hands on the steering wheel.
But
And now
what's the purpose of the Federal Reserve?
the
What
purpose of the Federal
what's the
Reserve is,
purpose?
well, now I'm gonna tell you the true point of the Federal Reserve. As like I said, you have to be educated. Now it took a different direction. So now the point where I'm going to say the difference is about the Federal Reserve is that if you using fiat currency, you can't own anything. That was took away. If you understand the law, follow the property, and that you don't own the money. That's why they can seize it. They can just seize your money, take your money, all of that. Before people, even if they had a bank holiday, if you had gold in their reserve, if you had gold reserve, people would tear down the bank. You have a right to redress government and get what is rightfully yours. But the way the system has now, since you don't own anything, you don't have nothing to grievance about. So this is what I'm saying for us, the Federal Reserve right now, the condition is in right now.
Am I good or what? Oh, I'm
Right,
sorry.
right. I understand. Okay,
So
so yeah.
so I'm just saying, if I wasn't in the room with the men that were created the Federal Reserve. I mean, people write books, they tell a story. The founding fathers had laid down some groundwork for us to follow. I think that some of this is our fault. I think a lot of this from the beginning is that we allowed somebody to come in and infiltrate a system and then we fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So if you talk about what's the purpose of the Federal Reserve, that I'm gonna say right now to strip the American people of its wealth.
Okay. So do you think that we should try to benefit from the Federal Reserve Bank at this point in the game? Just keep it real, man. I mean, like,
Cannot benefit. Listen to what I'm saying. If you don't own nothing, you have no skin in the game. Everything when you start understanding finance and on a global scale, countries are trading commodities. One of the things that allow your country to be great is your country ability to manufacture goods through imports and exports. United States, what do how many corporations do we have in our yesteryears, right? We used to be a very big manufacturing company. A lot of our companies went overseas. Why? So they can get more profit shares low, based upon you can go get what they call those sweatshops, and you can get cheap labor, and then they can quadruple, quadruple in profits. Take a shoe that's made for $5 and sell it for $100. I mean, you making your money 100 times over, right?
right,
So we got to understand, like, the purpose of the system. What's going on with us today? It could, people make all types of things for a good purpose, and then other people take it and use it for a bad purpose.
Look, bro. The creature of Jekyll Isle is basically like, look,
I know
we
you.
want to take over the game, and this is how we gonna do it. Now, that don't mean it was ever good for us because they had intent to take over the game. They had an intent to control the United States from the beginning. So I don't know about their good intention, right? But I want to say that what JB was saying, man. KB was saying. KB was saying that we can benefit from it because he see people benefiting from it now. Like he see people getting rich and making money in the system right
But
now.
but that's an illusion. What is rich? What is wealth? In the reality in the global spectrum, and when we're talking about nations, what is wealth? Do we understand what wealth look like? That's a conversation that we need to have. What is wealth?
You mean
From
like
a
well?
from a nationality standpoint, what do wealth look like? And I can tell you what wealth look like. A nation ability to create manufacturing goods and is self-sustainable on a global scale. That's wealth.
All right.
When you don't have wealth, you are a codependent nation, dependent on another nation's survival, right? So, as us being within having our nationality, being a Moor or whatever you call yourself, you're codependent on a institution because the U.S. United States is a corporation. We're dependent on a corporation to ensure that we have what we need. When a nation is self independent and self sustainable, it sustains itself. It doesn't need outside influences to make sure its people is healthy. The people have rights to the land and all the mineral rights. The people have everything that they need to thrive, right? Nationally and internationally. These
So
are the conversations that we need to have. Most people don't understand that.
okay. All right. Hey, brother KB, you got anything else to add to this before we move on?
Uh, what we moving on to?
What you mean, man? We got other stuff that's being woke. Being woke ain't just about Federal Reserve, right?
Oh yeah, okay. So before we move away from that, man, I just want to encourage brothers, that finance, man, we could, in my opinion, we could benefit a lot more by learning about how the game work and trying to get our few pesos in and worrying about if this shit good or bad. I mean, it is interesting to learn, the truth of the matter, because admittedly, it probably is a wicked system. Some wicked people, is behind it. It's good to be aware of that too, you know. But it's a lot of things about the Federal Reserve that being presented to us, but it's some things that's still even being hidden from us. Like when we gonna watch videos like the video we talking about. So it's just a lot to learn, man. It's definitely learning how it works.
Okay.
Definitely, it's good information to have and be able to share with brothers. You feel me? Our kids, family. You feel me? So,
All right. Y'all, please like the video, subscribe, share this video to everybody, and check out all the other videos. So my next question is, we talking about like this is one of when you woke, one of the first things we learned about is the Illuminati, and so my blanket question is the Illuminati real? And so All right, I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna let you start off, KB. Is the Illuminati real?
It's funny. This was really one of the first things that I learned when I was well, when I was waking up or whatever was about the Illuminati. And if you done stayed up with the Illuminati over the years, you swear to God, the Illuminati done sacrificed everybody. They sacrificed Whitney Houston, they sacrificed Tupac, they sacrificed everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like they sacrificing infants, all type of you hear all type of stuff about the Illuminati. And honestly, okay, so we can agree that it was a group called the Illuminati. That's a verifiable fact that it was a group called the Illuminati. Bro, you know a lot more about that than I do. But I don't think the Illuminati and the Masons too as well, because Illuminati and the Masons supposed to be the same thing. I don't think they out here sacrificing celebrities and doing all the crazy stuff that that was on the internet. If they don't even have that stuff on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Nowadays, I don't know what happened, but you're not gonna find too many more than videos about the Illuminati.
Shit,
So is the Illuminati real?
they might take this down there.
What It's almost like what Illuminati, man? Because people were swearing the Illuminati was reptiles, all types of stuff that they was worshiping Satan, all types of things that I swear to God, at the time I was listening to these things, I'm like, for real? Like, damn,
So
shit, this Illuminati is something, man. Like, they really on some bullshit. Jay-Z and Beyonce and Illuminati, Blue Ivy.
so
And
you don't
now,
so you don't believe it.
uh,
So you don't believe it.
I believe that it was a group called the Illuminati, you know what I'm saying, back in the day. Uh, and it's crazy because the stuff also applied to Masons. I don't think the brothers in the lodge is out here sacrificing babies and worshiping Satan. I don't think, at
Hmm.
least my personal opinion. I mean, I don't know if there is. I ain't been to a lodge and been in the lodge with these brothers, but these brothers seem like everyday dudes. I don't think that they out here partying with Jay-Z and planning on how they gonna brainwash everybody.
Huh. Okay. So I mean, like you started to study this. You was like, wow, and then all of a sudden you don't think that no more. What made you stop thinking that?
You know what? It was just getting out of control. It was like the Illuminati was sacrificing somebody every year. Every celebrity getting killed by the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? Every celebrity, Michael Jackson, all type of stuff. It was just getting crazy to the point where I'm like, is people just doing this for views? Are people just making these crazy videos on YouTube for views? You feel me? And some of that stuff, it just didn't make sense. I'm like, if this is some super secret organization, why everybody know about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if like why these folks ain't been arrested by now? They been this all on YouTube. My little niece, 9-year-old niece, know about it.
Yeah.
Everybody know about it now, but I was just, and then especially even the brothers in the lodge, like some brothers who in the lodge, these just really kind of some regular everyday dudes. I highly doubt these brothers out here worshiping Satan and just doing all this crazy stuff. Now, what they're actually doing would be real interesting to know, but I doubt that they out here, sacrificing people and worshiping
Well,
Satan.
okay. I will say this. I will say that I think there is some validity to the Illuminati. I do believe that the Illuminati. We know the Illuminati existed and was created at some point in history back in 1776. Okay, but like you talked about Jay Z and all these people, right? Now, I will say that in the music industry or in the industry that we have, there is something that is controlling the industry. I don't think that the music industry is just a free all. Like you can do whatever you want. I think there is something that has control over the music industry because the music industry is a very vital way of communicating to the masses. It is a very good way of creating uh, not just culture, but like trends and things of that nature is done through music. Like if your favorite rapper or if your favorite singer is wearing something, everybody wants it. And so there's no way that I feel like they're going to let that not have control over that in some way or fashion. Okay. Now is Jay-Z part of the Illuminati? I mean,
Did Tupac get sacrificed by the Illuminati?
I mean, it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. I mean, I want to say that it sounds crazy, but I mean, this the truth is stranger than fiction. So I don't know. What you think about this, King?
Okay. Um, that's
What you
the
think?
the Illuminati, right? It means the enlightened one or the enlightened one. And if it's so if you go back in history, it's always been a group of people that was chosen that supposed to have knowledge. The Illuminati, that's just a name that it was given, but it is birthed out of ancient. This is an ancient practice. This is not nothing new. It's birthed out of ancient practice that I think we have lost our way. I think we have lost our sense of our abilities. I think they stole a lot of our history, and now they pushing it in your face as if they the ones who created it. Do I think there is some form of an organization and an entity that's doing something and controlling something? Of course. Is it the United Illuminati? I don't know. I don't know if that's just propaganda. I don't know if that's just folk tale. I don't know really what's real behind it. All I know is there's powers that be that control the media, that control the music, that control the money. There's people, there's think tanks. They're being utilized. And I think sometimes they got us chasing our tail with different information to get us off of what we need to be paying attention to and how the country is moving. So I think we get so caught up in things that we lose sight of really what our agenda is. And one of the things that I like to talk about is, like I said, the wealth building. We own 0.0001% of the wealth, little to nothing in this country. But we are the highest consumers, we are the highest purchaser. We purchase everything known to man. We are a $3 trillion people with little to nothing to show for it but things and stuff. How is that? A people who go out and produce and make and engineer. We in a lot of these markets we drive. Fashion industry, the music industry. They thought rap would die. It's the largest genre in music today. Now you got people rapping in Japan, Italy, France, Jamaica, wherever. Rap is the largest genre of music in the world. We're
Okay.
driving these markets, and I'm just saying, sometimes even like the Illuminati and stuff like that. I mean, do we keep chasing those things, or do we pay attention to what really have an impact on us?
I got you. Do you not think that hip hop has an impact on us? Like you're saying, like we should focus on things that affect us. Well, one of the things that affect us is what we listen to and what we see on TV. And so is hip hop, in that culture, isn't that part of this? And so my question is, do you think Jay-Z is Illuminati? Do you think that there's a group that's doing that in the music industry?
Yes, I think there's a conspiracy.
Okay.
Do I think that there are people pushing an agenda? Of course. The best way to keep a particular people from thriving is um, divide and conquer.
Okay. All
So
right. So okay.
you so
Okay. Oh,
keep
go ahead.
you
Go ahead. Go
know
ahead.
keep people. So you got to think about it. Okay, they push all this negative music. They push all these negative images. They push all this negativity. And what happens? It causes mass hysteria and chaos in our communities. So we went from self destruction, you headed for self destruction, to everything that you can think about. I smoke you like a blunt. I bust your head. I do this.
So
You know,
would you call that the Illuminati? Like, I mean, like I think the Illuminati is a term. It's a broad term, you know, for people who are controlling certain things in the world. So I mean, like, it may not be called the Illuminati anymore. I think that by the time we get to the word Illuminati, they have changed it and there is something else. But the word Illuminati just conveys that there is some type of secret society that's using spiritual stuff against the people. So one of the things that I want us to address is, what about the rituals? Like, do you think that any of these people like Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson, do you think they were used as rituals by some type of group? But we'll just call the Illuminati, not just necessarily the Illuminati. But do you think that they're doing sacrifices?
I,
Y'all, any of y'all?
I think that's a good probability to join memberships. I mean, we already know the United States has been made up of many secret societies. Secret societies has been prevalent in this culture for a long time. So, is there secret societies going on today? Of course. That's where you got all of your frat houses, all of your fraternities come from a branch of that. So your Masonic organizations and stuff like that. Yeah, that just trickled down. But um, do I believe like if did Tupac get shot or murdered? Now I just think that was. I think that Whitney Houston died. Was that a sacrifice? Now I just think. I think. I think sometimes when we get wealth, sometimes we don't know how to handle it.
Really?
And I think that I
Wow.
think I think that they they did a good job of planting the bad seed so that we will reap the benefits of that bad seed
Wow.
that we sowed.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So, all right, KB, man. What you? I mean, like, he kind of going with what you saying, man. What? So, what do you think? What do you want to add on to that, man?
I mean, even what you said that I think we all can agree is some type of, if you will, secret society, groups of people who do have a lot of influence on the culture, what we see on TV. I mean, that's not even conspiracy. That's just a fact. I mean, that's just plain facts. I mean, that's something that I think is you can verify. You feel me? And it's something plain that we all can see. You know, that the influence of the media, the mass media. I think that's just a plain observable fact right there. Now, so I think we can agree on that. But what I'm saying is with this Illuminati, like as it was presented, on YouTube and on Facebook and all that, that it was really just wild. It was wild and out of control. And I think why a lot of people believed it because I mean it kind of made sense. I mean, we all kind of knew that it was some type of some types of groups or people that's behind the scenes pulling the strings on certain things. So I think that's why, it was easy to believe for a lot of folks, but it's like, they got us with that. And then it's a bunch of extra stuff added onto it, like, oh, the rappers, if you really listen to their music backwards, they're really talking about worshiping Satan. And these videos, it's funny because people started making videos, that was like satanic, just for attention, like certain artists. But it
right?
was it was just out of control.
So, so y'all, like I heard King and them. So y'all really think that the death of Prince or Michael Jackson was just a misfortune, if you will? It's they were on drugs. I mean, they were using like these painkillers, and they died. I mean, you really believe it? Y'all really believe it?
I believe that before I believe that they was a sacrifice to Satan. Just,
Okay, okay. Now I do want to say something about the Illuminati in that regards because people think that the Illuminati is satanic, and I think that a lot of the videos that be put out are trying to say that the Illuminati is satanic. But when you look at the historical Illuminati, it never was satanic. Like people put the Illuminati with Lucifer being the light bearer, and the light bearer is supposed to be Satan. But none of those are true. The light bearer or Lucifer is not Satan. Okay, it's not the devil. Lucifer is the light bearer. That's what it's called. The light bearer is not necessarily evil. And so I do think that there is a misleading of the people when it comes to the information about the Illuminati. I think that there is misinformation being put out there because the ability for us to read and get information that we never had. And so to keep that knowledge kind of secret, they push a whole bunch of BS on us. So I do believe that the Illuminati in some regards on the internet is BS. But it seemed like there's some lining of truth in there. So I don't know.
and you know what? It's even really good to even go back to, whatever source. Who originally came up with this idea of the Illuminati? I'm pretty sure if we look it up, it's going to trace back to somebody who supposedly found out this information and then leaked it all over the internet into the whole world. That's a very good question, even within this. You feel me? But
Most of the people that put out stuff about the Illuminati are Christian. Most of
mm,
the people that put out stuff about the Illuminati is Christian. If you read most of the Illuminati literature they put out, it's got a whole bunch of biblical verses in it, and it's always prophetic. So it's a lot of Christians putting this stuff out too, man. You know, Beyonce is supposed to be evil because Beyonce is representing African culture in her videos. She's putting African symbology in her video, and to the Christian world, they say it's evil. So like this being woke is starting to split its hairs. You got like one group of being woke going one way and another group of being woke going another way. What y'all think about that, man?
try to look into this Illuminati real quick. Hold on.
What you think, King? What you got?
That's what I'm saying. It's the arc of confusion, divide and conquer, to keep people chasing their tail. One party believing one thing, another party believing another, while they're working for the best interests of themselves. Um, it's just, you know, that's why sometimes I don't really get into that. You know, what is really being woke? What do that really mean in the sense of a category? What is being woke in relationships? Is learning about the Illuminati is really being woke? You know, some of us gotta take some of this stuff and use it. Some of it is just entertainment, and we got to look at it as just entertainment and move on to the next because we have to heighten our reality with things that's going to build us up, not tear us down or keep us more confused. Um, is the is we talking about the Illuminati being real? It could not be. It could be or it could not be. But I think we have to analyze things and look at things from a point of view, and sometimes it is just being entertainment. And I think they do a great job of putting stuff in our brain to be concerned about versus then balancing your checkbook or make sure that you pay your taxes and you got you in a seat, a tax consultant, somebody that know taxes or somebody that can really help you with some things that you need to be helped with in life. You know, it's just crazy to me, how we say Beyonce is evil because she was dressed up in all black and Black Panther and she was doing this stuff. You know, white people is, another thing. Like I said, we live in a Christian nation. I don't know, man. It's just time to really wake up. I feel like really pay attention.
I do feel like the whole Illuminati thing is like your lower level being woke. It's like when you first waking up, these are like some of the things that you kind of see first. You know what I'm saying? So I do get that, but that I do feel like that's part of being woke. So my next thing is this. So is conspiracy theories part of being woke? Like, the conspiracy of, like, we talked about the Federal Reserve, that's a conspiracy, or this Illuminati is a conspiracy, or 9/11, the conspiracy. What's going on with the viruses is a conspiracy. So, do you guys feel like that's part of the movement of being woke?
To
Okay,
have
so
conspiracy theories.
you say what now, brother?
I mean, having conspiracy theories. You know,
Yeah.
I'll say really, and it kind of not. I mean, because it's folks who consider themselves woke, but you probably won't consider them conspiracy theorists. You feel me? Like for instance, somebody could be, brother in the Nation of Islam. You feel me? He might just believe in Allah. He's gonna pray, but he's still woke. To whatever extent. I think.
Hold
Ah,
on. Hold on. Next to Islam? Now, Farrakhan,
you wouldn't consider them woke.
I would consider that woke, but Farrakhan be talk like, you don't think a lot of stuff that Farrakhan has talked about would be considered conspiracy? Like,
Possibly, yeah,
I
maybe,
mean,
definitely.
they believe in like the Jews, for example. It's a big thing about how they look at the Jews,
Mhm.
and there's a conspiracy about the Jews. When you're woke, you look at the Jews in a certain way. How are Jews conceived? They're like bankers and these different, they're behind the scenes, right? They're behind the scenes of Hollywood. The secret relationship between black and Jews is one of the main books by the Nation of Islam.
I mean, some of that stuff, at least a lot of that stuff, at least I can't say that stuff wasn't true. They did point out a lot of stuff that was indeed true. I mean, and it was scholarly now. I mean, you could go back and forth, but I think a lot of that stuff was kind of built on good work, good research. They did. Now, whether if you want to say if it's scholarly or not, but I think the brothers they did do a lot of good research on
Okay. All right, bro. What about you, Kane?
Um, it just, I think with all of this stuff, you have to stay centered. You have to stay grounded to certain things. We can look at and say, okay, there's, we can see certain things. There was a plot. Was JFK assassinated? We know he was. Was it
Right.
some? It
But was it a conspiracy?
was it conspiracy? I mean,
Right.
there's some things to look at. You got to look at how out some things. You just got to follow. I try to tell people if you really want to know the truth, follow the money. Pay attention to how the money start moving. It'll always lead you
I got you.
to some right answers. Just like we talk about Martin Luther King, we was having some discussion about Martin Luther King today. We was talking about, you know how we was talking. We was talking about Martin. We was talking about Malcolm X. We was talking about how we Martin was used for integration, um, to
Right.
fire against the black dollar and stuff like that. We
That's
talked
that's a perfect example.
we were talking about some of those things, but a lot of that stuff we know there was some truth to it though. See, we gotta you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. We gotta
Right.
eat the meat and spit out the bones. We gotta take what we can prove with facts and leave it at that and create some hard facts. Didn't they pay? Hold on, didn't they pay? Um, his sons, didn't his family get a check from the government? From my understanding, didn't they
I
get
mean,
some money?
that's the conspiracy too. They got the whole story about the Big Six that Malcolm X talks about, where six of them got money, and one of them was Martin Luther King. You know, so my thing is this: like I said about the conspiracy, it's like when you become woke, is it that you start looking at everything right, and you start looking at everything from a different angle, and so when you start looking at it from a different angle, to people who are still asleep, is it do they look at you like, oh man, you're a conspiracy? That's a conspiracy, man. Martin Luther King, he did this and that, or not like 9/11. Oh, 9/11 wasn't no inside job. It was, you know, like regular people, they look at it as a conspiracy, but do we really look at it as a conspiracy being woke? And see, that's my thing. Is conspiracy theories really being part of being woke? Because it's like you're being open to information that you may never have been open to before.
It's definitely, like I say, I think it's definitely different degrees of different shit. Because I mean, you got folks who we can consider woke, but I mean, it's like, how woke is we? Like, because I be hearing some folks talking about we Hebrew Israelites from the Sirius constellation galaxy. I be like, bruh, no, come on, come on now, like, but ah. You feel me? Some folks are just too woke. Like, oh my God, like where is this coming from? You feel me? And I understand. I mean, you got some folks out there who believe. I mean, is that too much different from believing in Jesus? That Jesus rose to heaven, uh, rose from the dead, but whatever. You
I
feel
mean,
me?
right. I mean, that's like flat Earth. Is flat Earth part of being conscious? Because it's like being woke. It's like you always try to one up the next person. Like, oh, have you heard about this? Did you hear about the flat Earth? And then, did you hear about this one? So it's like they're always you got people who are constantly trying to seek something new, almost like a rush. It's almost like an adrenaline rush or some kind of like high that you get from hearing something crazy outlandish. But like that's a good question. Is flat Earth is flat Earth part of being woke?
I think there's stages of being woke. You know, you got the newbies that come into the information, and they're trying to filter out what's real and what's fake. Then you have somebody who's been woke, that's awakening to more information, and then you got your scholars. Your scholars who base everything on fact. They fact check everything before they present it. Like they kill all of the different hypotheses, and make a make a sound determination based upon some concrete or real evidence or information. So I think all of these different things are parts or elements of being woke. I mean, for a lot of people that's now coming into the information, they go through a stage, a progression. So some of these are first stages that they start, oh, okay, the Illuminati, then they go into these other things and they grow out of these things and they start listening to what's they seek because we're talking about people who are truth seekers. They looking for the truth. So they, sometimes when you looking for the truth and you going through the trash can, you find everything other than the truth first, and then you might find what you're looking for. It's that hidden gem. So we just, I think these are all the processes of trying to find truth. The flat Earth theory, yeah, you got this. Earth is flat. Is not this is, and I'm not a believer of it, but you got people that's going to believe in it. They trying to make certain
Right.
discoveries.
They'll determine, oh, you're not that woke. You don't believe in the flat earth. You know. I mean, so this whole thing about being woke in this day and age, I think it's got some kind of twist on it because man, there's so much information out here that people who are waking up, they're like their first impressions, they really believe it. This new information really influences the way they start to think, and they believe this stuff. It's just like what Jamil was saying, right? Where he was watching the cartoon on the Federal Reserve when he was younger, and he took it into heart more, like he really believed it. But now that he's older, there's a lot of he sees like some of the flaws in it. So being woke has a certain maturity level, I believe, to it as well. You know, so I don't know if y'all got anything to add to that, brother KB.
Yeah, man. It's really it's flat. Oh, it's flat Earth part of being woke. That's really bad. I swear, you talk to a flat earther, man. They done did all the research and they got the facts, bro. And you can't tell them the Earth ain't flat. And they consider this woke. I mean, honestly, it's flat earth. Like King said, it's probably definitely a level of being woke. I mean, at least they searching for some type of truth. They got a feeling that something ain't right and everything the whole truth ain't being told. But flat earthers, man, that's I be hearing some crazy stuff, man, especially on the internet nowadays. People be saying the craziest things, and people they got followers, man. People, you
Right,
know,
right. They be having a
tuned
whole
in.
bunch of. And that's the thing, man. They be having so many followers about stuff they be saying. So that take me to because there's a lot of people out here like that's spiritual, right? And they
Mm.
got a lot of people following these spiritual people. So my next question is being spiritual or versus religious is woke?
Yeah, that's also a very good question too. I think we was talking about that earlier, man, about it's funny how some folks, will stop going to church and stop reading the Bible, but then they'll start doing tarot cards and crystal working, and it's like, okay, you don't believe in Jesus and the Bible, but you believe in tarot cards though.
Okay, I mean, all right, man. I hear you. See, you coming for the people, man. You coming for the people, bro. I mean, I'll say
I mean,
this.
because
Okay, go
I
ahead.
believe in tarot cards. I mean, I got
Do
a
you?
couple packs of tarot cards around my house, man, and I still, to a certain extent, believe that you can use tarot cards for some benefits, but like folks believe like, oh well, you can use the cards to tell your future or some shit. Nah.
Okay, so you saying that? I mean, you saying that you mess with tarot cards. So, like, so if somebody switched from Jesus to tarot cards, are you? I mean, you was trying to say like, oh, you jumped from one thing that you thought was false, and now you jumping into another thing that you really don't have no proof of. I thought that's where you was trying to go with that.
Dang there. It kind of, and I understand where folks be coming from, at the end of the day, because I don't, I got tarot cards in my house, whatever, woo, woo. But it basically is like that. Like, you don't believe in Jesus or nothing in the Bible. But like I say, they believe in tarot cards, or what else believe
You
people
said
believe
crystals,
in
like crystals. That's
crystals
what you said. Yeah, you said crystals, man.
and herbs and magic spells, and like, it don't make sense to me. I
Oh
mean,
man,
I
come
get
on.
it, but I get it. I get it because I was definitely there, but now I'm kind of like, well, I don't really believe in neither one of them like that. You feel me? Or at least how it be presented. You know what I'm saying?
How
Like
is
on
it
the web.
presented? How is it presented?
Like, oh, you can manifest anything just by thinking about it. You can manifest whatever you want. All you need to do is do this ritual, draw some circles and meditate, and you can be a millionaire just like me, or you can live the life of serenity. You can ascend to higher cosmic levels, transcend reality. All you got to do is just say some affirmations every day. You feel
So
me?
what about like the power of attraction?
Ah, man, it's true to a certain extent, but
Is
the
it?
way that people make it seem, like, oh well, this is the one-stop shop. Like, once you learn the law of attraction, you can do anything. You can do anything you set your mind to. Like, all you need to do is master the law of attraction, the law of manifestation, and all your dreams will come true. It's like that type of thing. Like, all you got to do is meditate, and you feel me, you could do anything. And I mean, honestly, is that the truth? I mean, I can't really say. A lot of folks who I see that's got these beliefs and maybe even practicing these things, like, I don't see the effects from it. Like, 'cause I got a lot of folks who it's all in the new age spirituality, but I mean, is they waking up winning the lottery tomorrow? I ain't seen nobody yet. If it worked, tell me, because I'm trying to win the lottery, bro. Tell me how it worked.
I mean,
If they got
right,
the secrets, please
right.
teach me for real.
Okay, okay. I'm a go, King. What you? Okay, man. What you? What you think about this, brother King, man? Like,
Religion or spirituality. Um,
yeah, like it's
is
like
it,
people being woke.
I think there's levels to both. I think you might start off one way because when we talk about religion, my thing is you doing something religiously. You reap what you sow. You do the things necessary if you're trying to win or have success. That is the things that you practice or the things that you use to govern yourself or empower yourself. That is your
I mean,
religion. You know, for me, as I grew along, versus the dogma, versus listening to all the dogma in relationship to religious. spiritual, spiritual growth and development. And I think we start off at certain levels, and I think as you reach a level of maturity, you start to make certain progresses, and you start learning not to re, regress, and you start learning more about what's real and how to think, because all of this, everything is spiritual. It's aspects of religion in this. Part of our culture is a part of your religion. What you listen to, what do you allow to enter your room, your sacred place, your help you vibrate, help you thrive. You know, these are the things that's necessary. So I think both of these terms get misplaced due to how it's presented, and a lot of people gain a lot of followers by putting a lot of nonsense out there to attract attention. So they do that so just to get views. A lot of people do a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons. But like the brother was saying, you go from a believing in Jesus into tarot cards, and then to from that to believing in crystals, and then you go into lighting incense and herbs all around your house, like you chasing these evil spirits. And people go through that, all of that. You know, One of the things that we have to understand about you have even been teaching me about spirituality is about breathing. Keep it keeping self control, learning how to breathe, learning how to be, one with self. So I just think there are stages of both religion and spirituality, and they both have a connection, and that's dealing with customs and culture and traditions. All of that is a fabric of those two things, and they meet and they make a head. So it's how you evolve and look at this stuff as you come into your maturity. Because me and you have these discussions all the time, not saying spirituality or religion, but we speak upon things, and we talk about how we need to look at the world and all of that. So yeah, you know I think I think there's, like I said, a lot of conscious people are trying to find themselves. So they reach to the first thing, low hanging fruit. They try to get the stuff right there in their face, and they try to figure that out before they try to get a ladder and climb up to the highest part of the tree and pick the apple out of that to get to say, man, some of the best fruit is up there. They try to get the what's hanging, and they try to make sense out of that before they try to go up the ladder.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So for me, I think what the conscious community is saying or doing is they're becoming spiritual over religious because religion seems to be what they've already was in. Like you grow up in a religion called Christianity for the most part. And then as they begin to wake up, they're like, wait a minute, man, I'm not really feeling this religious stuff. So they go into spiritual, what they call spiritual, which is more of a individual relationship. And it doesn't tie them back to a Christian or like any organized religious groups. So they're able to unplug from Jesus, right? So then they start going back into stuff that the Christians told you not to mess with. So like one of the things that Christians tend to stay away from is astrology. They tend to stay away from oracles, okay? And they also tend to stay away from using witchcraft. And so I think that when they start to wake up, they say, wait a minute, if I've got to look at everything objectively now, and I got to really pick everything apart. Oh, well, if the Christians are telling me not to do this, then I must look at it because there must be covering something up, which, okay, could be true. So a lot of times they get back into that. Then they realize that, oh, before Christianity, we used to do these things, but they took them away from us. Let us reclaim some of our cultural believing. So like one of the things that I think like JB KB was saying was the tarot. Like you said, you got tarots at your house, which says a lot. But the fact that tarots are used as an oracle system, just like using cowrie shells or the I Ching, or they call it the I Ching, I King, whatever, where they use the coins, or they're using some type of instrument to communicate with the divine intuition.
mm,
Right? That's what they're doing when they're doing those things. Tarot cards is probably like a new age thing, but it comes from an old, and you know how new age is. New age talks about things talking about it's all new, but it's really just new to the Europeans because they've been in Christianity for so long. They done forgot all this stuff. And so it's new to them. But this stuff is old to the world. It's old stuff. These are ancient stuff a lot of times that are being, you know, repackaged, remixed, as I say. It's a remix to like old ancient techniques. Um, so I so I think there is some. I feel what you're saying, brother, about they're trading off Jesus for something else because I mean that's what we tend to do. I think we tend to substitute something for another. If we are trying to stop drinking coffee, a lot of times we might substitute that for tea. So we
mm.
try to find something else. Once we look at something as toxic or bad, we try to find something else that seems to resonate with you better in certain ways. But I feel you. Like on the crystals, I mean, I'm in the crystals. My wife is in the crystals. But uh, you're like, what? Does it have any validity? Does it really work? I mean, do crystals really do what they say? You know, a lot of it got to do with belief and what we think. So I mean, like the same. I think the same belief sometimes that they might have in Jesus, they might
Mm.
put that same belief in a crystal. So you might be on to something. I don't know. I mean, so all right. So I say that for you to say, you know,
Right.
I mean, what do you think about that?
Uh, like I said, I mean, I even got the tarot cards and I even got a crystal around the house. So I do think that kind of even naturally follows that when people begin to question certain things that they being told in the church, for them to look for alternative answers. And one of the first things that they probably gonna run across is, something that's new age, especially nowadays. You go on Google, social media, it's kind of everywhere now. So I do think that you're right about that. Like I, that follows, or that naturally follows for a lot of people. For some people to get into the new age, spirituality, whatever you want to call it. But I do think just some of that stuff ah is complicated, man. It's a lot involved in it, especially because depending on what it is you particularly believe, because folks who consider themselves spiritual, it's really a broad term that can encompass a wide variety of people with a wide variety of different ideas, practices.
right?
So, but some of the things that I be seeing that
Like
people be
what?
talking about. I mean, we was even just talking about that, like the law of attraction, uh, law of manifestation, and all that. That's okay.
So
It's
is that
very
all? Is that
interesting.
so? All that stuff is that like what you consider all that like pseudo?
I believe it's true to some extent. You feel me? Like you can, with your mind focuses on, you can manifest to whatever degree, but the way that some people painting it, like as if you can manifest your dream life, you can be a millionaire out in the Bahamas somewhere, and you can drive this Ferrari or have a luxury car or all that. Just by thinking about, all you got to do is just think and meditate. That's, I get that a lot
Right.
from people on the internet. Uh,
But
and
remember that show. Remember that documentary or whatever called The Secret.
The Secret. That's one of them documentaries we first run into when we waking up, right? The Secret.
So with like with that being said, with the secret, I mean, do you not believe that that can manifest that you can do that?
Man, it's complicated. You know what? I ain't seen The Secret in a long time. I do remember seeing it probably around the time I first woke up, but it's something that would even be good to go back and look at. Like, is this shit? Is the stuff that they saying in here? Is this stuff really true or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't remember. I think it was kind of the main premise of it was that it was the law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you think about, you can manifest before you. That was the secret. I mean, was that really so much of a secret that they needed to even call that a secret? I mean, it has some folks really feeling like, man, if I can dream about becoming a rapper, and if I can see it, and that's all I think about is becoming a rapper, I can be the next Future or whoever, NBA, young boy, whatever. I can be the next Kodak Black. All I got to do is just meditate and put my mind to it, and we'll really know it's a whole game to it. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole other thing. It's almost like, you feel me? It's so I think that's where it even becomes problematic. But I do think it's a lot of, is it pseudoscience? I can't really say. I can't really say. It is to a certain extent, like, because some of the stuff that people be saying, it's just not true. Like, come on now, is it really true that we can do this ritual, and I don't know. I honestly, I haven't seen it. If somebody know how to do it, and this is also one of the problems with it too, though, is that with being on the internet with folks, and being on social media, where people be claiming to have this exclusive knowledge, but I haven't really found like somebody who's really a master at this, and who really got uh really got this master. And that's partially the reason why I kind of started stepping away from the new ways, because I'm like, a lot of these folks, they not, I mean, have they really mastered this stuff that they talking about? Have they really ever really seen real solid results? I haven't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just haven't met the right person yet. But if somebody out there, and you a master at manifesting, and you a psychic, and you got psychic abilities and all this stuff, please, I definitely want to learn. I've been wanting to learn. I'm ready to give up for real. So if you there,
Oh, so I mean, for real, like if you want to believe, you
I want to
want to.
believe it. I swear, I wanted to for a very long time, but at this point, I'm kind of like, man, I'd be better off going to church than trying
Wow,
to manifest with crystals or with the
wow,
tarot cards.
wow. Wow, that's interesting, man. So you got something to say about that, bro?
I just believe you reap what you sow. I think all things work together uh, for the balance of the universe, life. I think that I think a lot of people take it too far to the left and even too far to the right. They don't know how to be centered. Um, I think you can read energy. It's just like you know how somebody walking up behind you, you be like, and you can feel somebody' presence, and you turn around, and it feels like a unwanted presence.
Yeah,
Or you could be around some people, you know, you walking, you know how you see the brothers walking and going, you about to go into the store, you can sometimes feel that hostility. You think about it like, should I go on in the store? Sometimes our ego get the best of us. We like, fuck that, I'm gonna go in the store. I'm him. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we have senses and other abilities to be able to feel our way through the dark. I think that some of us just is not grounded. Do I believe in mentalism? Of course. All things are the mind. You use your mind for everything. And I believe that you got to put your mind to work. If you don't use it, you lose it. I believe in the law of attraction. Birds of a feather flock together. You see what I'm saying? Pimps and hoes hang out. That's just a true fact. You're not gonna find um, pimps and Christians, a pastor. You see what I'm saying? It's you meet you get what you looking for. If you walking down the street and you like, I'll fight anybody. You might run into it because
yeah,
you got that energy, and people can sense that.
yeah. I
So
believe it.
so yeah, do I believe in those things of the laws of Maya? Do I understand? Yeah, those things are real. But you got to understand that, do I over exaggerate some of this stuff? Where I think I beamed myself to Mars and I'm on Mars right now. You know what I'm saying? I can blink my eyes and I'm gonna go to Mars. I think we're in a human condition.
Ooh, I almost did it.
We are stuck in this human condition, and this is the realm that we're in right now. Is it? Do we? What do we transform into after death? I don't know. I can't. I don't know nobody to talk that came back from the dead. I don't know. So I just think that we have to be grounded in logic and use very good cognitive reasoning. This is why more science was very prevalent because we use science to make cures for medicine. We study things to understand the true nature of things. We learned about food, we learned about herbs, and we changed our diet and we lived according to nature, what our bodies was engineered to be. And I think that we so far to the left and so far to the right now, we we are off center and we like this, people are just lost because they're trying to find a way. Most of us is trying to find a way to get rich instead of being healthy mentally, spiritually, and physically. We more worried about having a bunch of money than having good health. Some of us working jobs that's very dangerous. I got a friend, man. Make a long story short, I felt like when I seen him, I felt like crying. He he worked and he did pipe fitting and he worked dealing with pipes. He did all this stuff all around the country. He was making good money, making over 30 something an hour. But within that that dust and that particle, he caught some kind of cancer, and it changed his whole life around, man.
Man,
And when I seen him, I mean, they had to remove certain part of his face. They had to reconstruct a lot of stuff because he had stage 4, and it I mean, he was trying to get the money. He was living. I remember when he got the job. I remember they was doing good. And this is what I'm saying. These people will promote certain things to us, have us risk our life and our health and our well-being and our children's health and their well-being for some paper money that we had kill, rob, and steal for. So,
facts,
so I
facts,
just think that we gotta, when we start talking about spirituality and religion, what is your religion? What is your moral compass? What you willing to die for? What is you really connected to? Really, where is your higher self at? Do I believe it's a higher self, higher consciousness? Of course. That's where you use the highest form of thought, reasoning. You use good judgment. You use your mind to critically think about things, to weigh the balances, to assess things, to put things and look at things with clairvoyance, to see the truth in whatever you're trying to do, so that we can stop making these silly and careless mistakes and stop putting our family in danger trying to get in these streets and make some money and do a lot of crazy stuff. And for me, that's how I just look at it. I think that's for me, how things should be. I'm just
I
speaking.
got you. I got you, brother. I got you, man. I know we wrapping this up, man. To wrap this up, um, what I'm hearing, what I've heard tonight is that being woke. There is, we know this. There's no set thing about being woke, but certain things that we kind of stereotype as being woke. Uh, Basically, with all of it that we talked about, there has to be extensive study. And I noticed that once you started to study it, and the more you get understanding of it, your perception of what you thought was woke doesn't apply. And we mature from one understanding to another. And with that new understanding, there becomes another opportunity to be not just woke, but like just to come into yourself even more. And so for me, I think what I'm taking from this is that we must continue to study to show ourselves approved. We must continue to study and research what we're learning, and not to take the word of anything once we become awakened, that we have to look at everything and examine everything, and not just a lot of times we go from one thing, like you said, to another, and we get trapped in that paradigm. People they get caught up in one religion, and then they leave that one thinking they awaken, and then they fall into another one, and then they get stuck in that one because they think they've arrived. But if they continuously realize that they never arrived, and they're always going to be constantly learning, that can help them to not, I guess, be judgmental, or for them to be able to grow and really get the full potential of what being woke is. So that's my thoughts on it. Anybody, you got anything else to add to that, KB?
Oh yeah, a lot of this stuff that we run across online and social media, whether if it be, if you want to call it quote unquote conspiracy theory, I think I said this before. I think there definitely is some truth in a lot of these theories and a lot of these theories. So, but I think that for a lot of us, we need to be more uh just be more thorough, you know, in, in analyzing the information that we get. You feel me? Because with all this information out here now, it's easy to get misled, and be it's easy to be misled, because like I said, a lot of this conspiracy theories, whatever, it got some truth to it, and at least maybe that's how we partially get caught up in it. Is that we learn, it give us some good things, some things that's true, but we got to be definitely be thorough with it and just make sure that we getting the correct information all around, and even also importantly, what is this information doing for us? You feel me? Like, 'cause some things, like learning about the Illuminati, if I'm spending all my time and all my energy, years and years, just learning about the Illuminati, what is that doing for me? You know what I'm saying? How, am I benefiting from this at all? Besides that, I'm an expert on the Illuminati. You feel me? So, brothers, keep learning, keep researching, and make sure whatever it is, at least, even if you learn all about the Illuminati, whatever is working for you, brother, just make it work for you for real. And you benefited from it in some shape, form, or fashion. And
Peace, peace. It's no doubt, no doubt. Y'all, hey, I know for me, I'm pretty much, that's pretty much a wrap, man. Anything you want to add to that, King? Then we can call it a night, bro.
Well,
It's
this I think I want to add on is this. I think we need to open our eyes and take a deeper um, observation of what's going on and what's impacting your life around you. I think we need to start looking at the truth from a small micro to a macro. I think we got to start changing the things within ourselves and the right things that's impacting us and try to improve those and change those things and then try to do greater research from there because most of the time it's going to be the enemy within that's going to hurt us the most, either ourselves or the people directly and around us impacting us every day. So I just think that we need to understand that so we can stop all the senseless killings and all the violence that's going on and to start there with ourselves. Research ourselves, understand who you are, what you is first, and then grow and develop into other things before you start taking on all these different Illuminati, conspiracy theories, and all of that. Knowledge itself is the greatest knowledge that anyone can have. Knowledge itself.
I say, brother. That's definitely real, man. I appreciate y'all brothers coming on and having this discussion. I hope that people got something from it. Like I said, if you guys like this, if you like this video, then smash the thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification for any new or new videos that we be putting out, man. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna get out of here. So peace and love. Tutanana.